because I stopped automatic recording because I used to have a lots of recording. Whenever someone used to join my room, it starts recording. So my recording column used to get filled. So that's why I've just done that. So now we are recording. Thank you, Huda, again. You mentioned it. Otherwise, I start. So we'll be doing what? We'll be taking an introduction to SQL, and we'll be working in MySQL right now. And if preferred, someone wants to work in SQL, maybe in some other environment, they can do that. But specifically in our course right now, we'll be for next few weeks we'll be discussing MySQL, and the real thing is again that the baseline is that we have to go about intro to SQL. All right. So introduction. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, as most of you would know, of course. It's pronounced as SQL or SQL. So some people like to pronunciate it as SQL. Some people like SQL. So whatever comes in your, whatever is good for you, you can call it. So there's no hard and fast thing in that. So you can call it a SQL or SQL. Usually most of the people, they usually like to call it SQL, but no hard and fast. You're always good to go for anything. So provides a somewhat standard interface for interacting with a database through a series of statements. And if I ask you series of statements, if I ask you what is a statement, when you talk about relation with the database, if someone can quickly write that in chat window, we'll just discuss that. Provide a somewhat a standard interface for interacting with a database through a series of statements. And what I can call statements as well as also is queries. So basically we are talking about queries. So one definition that I usually give here or I discuss here with the student is what is a query. So can anyone just give a small little definition of a query in chat window? What is a query? Like a command, yes, something like a filter, a question. Joel, very right. Philip, right. It's like a command, some like a filter, asking the database to give us some information that they may or may record. Very nice. L. Andrew says request. That's very good. Something that takes input. Maybe yes, that is also one way or other correct. All right. So query, just if you can just remember, a statement to interact with the database. A simple statement or a simple command, as you people said, it's a simple command or a statement which we use to interact with database. Now, this interaction can be for creation of something. This interaction can be for deletion of something. This interaction can be for updation of something, and up to so on. We'll see that those methods. So what is that? Through a series. So it provides a standard interface for interacting with a database. So SQL, it provides us the standard interface. It will provide us the interface to go and talk to the database. You want to talk to the database, and as I asked about query is the language or the statement that will be used to talk to database. A statement to talk to database. So again, you as you people, most of you people said a question, a request, all of them are very correct. But to simplify it, just to remember that one liner is basically a statement to interact with database. This interaction, as I said, will be for insertion sometimes, for deletion sometimes, for creation sometimes, up to so on. That can be anything. Defines what you get from a table or set of tables when making queries. So when we run these series of statements, what we do? It defines what you get. So you by using SQL, what you do is you get from a table or set of tables when making queries. So you write queries and you get something out of the table or set of tables, sometimes from one table, sometimes from multiple tables. This is very important concept. So you get those. Insert, deletes, and updates data in a table. So basically what it does is that it does all those things. Insert, delete, update. Here I'll just discuss, and it's not mentioned in maybe somewhere it is mentioned. CRUD operations. Are you people familiar with CRUD operations? Anyone? What is this CRUD? Hopefully you know that, and we discussed it in a lot of places at different places. It's create, read, update, and delete, and it's basically, yes, thank you, Devin, thank you, Troy. So now it's basically one way or other inserts and deletes and updates. And so again, whenever we talk about insert, we are talking about the creation and insertion and deletion of the data and update, something like that. Manipulates the schema, structure of the table. So schema of the table or a structure of the table. We can manipulate the structure of table also by using the SQL statements. So that is one thing. That is the thing that we are to talk about SQL. All right, so we'll be using MySQL, but learning about, so it's what I was saying. We'll be using MySQL, but learning about SQL in general as well. So as I said you that the interface that we'll be using, the management software, the management database management system that we'll be using is related to MySQL, which is one of the implementation, which is one of the databases implementation of SQL. And we will be learning about SQL because MySQL very much resembles with it, but there are differences with it. And we'll see those differences over here as well. And sometimes there are a few differences that you will come to know when you will go to the advanced database course that is going to come in your some future semester. So basically MySQL, we'll be using MySQL, but learning about SQL. So basically what we are doing is, so there are differences between them. Of course, there are differences between them, and we have different things, like there are the differences, and we'll talk about those differences. There are also significant differences between versions of MySQL. So even when you talk about MySQL, there are different versions of MySQL, and we might have differences between those two. Okay, I'm just giving a heads up to all of you that I don't know, for since last week or so, maybe 2-3 weeks, I am having problem with my electricity, and it looks like it's again fluctuating a bit. So if I disappear at some point of time, please be considerate and wait for me, because I'll just have to log back. And sometimes even it's rebooting my router as well. So please bear with me if something of that kind happen, because I can right now observe that light is just fluctuating a bit. So sometimes maybe I get out of this meeting. So please bear with me, and I'll come back definitely. Right. So what is the, there are also significant difference between, so MySQL, even MySQL's version also have differences between them. Thank you, Alex. So we'll be just scratching the surface of SQL. More is covered in the advanced SQL course. As I said you that there will be advanced SQL course that you are going to study in future courses. So that will be covered in advanced SQL course. And there are certain very advanced features that you'll be going there, and you'll be discussing and talking about your databases. All right. So general SQL stuff. So a client or application using an API communicates with the SQL server. So our client, as you remember, your assignment 1, where you made a client, and that client or application using an API was communicating with what? The SQL server of your. There you were not, like we did not make in the real sense the SQL server, but there was a server that was taking care of your requests. You were requesting something, and that it was just providing you the access to the file, and you were just writing to that file and just reading from that file. Let me just stop my video, because sometimes it also helps in internet speed. All right, so now everything is done with SQL statements. So we do what everything we'll be doing is done with the SQL statements, and statements end in a semicolons, and that's another very interesting thing that we will be doing, that every instruction should end with a terminator or a semicolon that we call it. But you will see and you will realize very shortly that this condition on one side, this is very important, and this should go about it. But with the passage of time, our interfaces are becoming more and more smarter, and sometimes if you just leave them out, it will just still work. It's not like the environment of C or Java or those really complex structural compiler based languages, where we were unable to run our code if there was no terminator semicolon. But here let's try to make it a habit of writing a semicolon over there. It is common to put keywords in uppercase. It's also a common practice to put keywords in uppercase. What is the keyword? What are the keywords? We'll see those keywords shortly. But it's common to put them in uppercase, and it's only and most of you know that there will be a keyword called select, for example. So we try to write that. Bear with my drawing, because my mouse is also very special. So select, it will be working as like select. We try to make it as the uppercase letter, so that you can differentiate between the reserved words keywords that you are using of SQL, and you have the difference between the different between your own defined variables or defined. So there are a lot of depending on the vendor version implementation situation. So yes, so there will mostly you will find that we are like the SQL environment will be flexible with you. Like again, you are using select this one, or you're using this one, it will both work fine. Or you're using S capital and E small, that will still work. And even you are using one keyword as a capitalized and second keyword as smaller, still it will work. So there are lots of things that will be working for you. So again, you have to just keep in mind that we can do that. But again, there are a lot of, depending on version implementation switches. Sometimes some versions might not allow you. Sometimes some versions say that no, you can only use your reserved words or keywords in a capitalized form, or sometimes something can happen. So you have to just keep that in mind while creating those values. Right. So defining a database. So still we are just talking about few things, but we'll talk about that. Start with create database and the database name and terminator. Now again, you can see this create and this database are the keywords of the SQL create database. That's why they have been taken as a capitalized form. But as I said, most of the interfaces that we'll be using, they are friendly enough that if you use them in a small letter, they don't mind. And even not only they don't mind, but rather they will change their colors according to the reserved word, the keyword. As you know, our IntelliSense or our the editors give us this facility of changing the color of our the reserved words. So create database name. I can write anything, a name, for example, Conestoga. I want to create a database Conestoga. So create database Conestoga terminator. If I run this query, for example, with this one, if I execute this query, I will have a brand new database with the name Conestoga, or whatever name you have given. So this name is something that you will give to it, and this create database is the reserved word. Delete with the drop database name. Nothing special. Just drop a database with name. So Conestoga, drop it. So if you do that, if you run these two statements, you will be at 0.0 again. So you create a database with Conestoga name, and you just drop a database Conestoga name, and you can have a database deleted from your right. So I will just talk about few statements, and then I'll switch to the installation for it, and I will ask all of you to just go and install what we are going to use over today. So I'll just go maybe 3-4 slides more, and then we'll reach to the installation part of it. Now, create table is used. So create table, another statement, right? Is used for what? Defining tables. So if you are creating the tables, you have to use what? The create table command. And again, as I said, these are the reserved word keywords. So they are both taken as in a capitalized form. And then there can be table name. For example, you say information or info. So now that will be our table. Can specify a column field list with data type. So we can specify what? A column field with list of data types. So we'll have to represent the data types here as well. And you know that there are certain languages which are strongly that require a data type to be with it. So SQL will also require a data type at least with it, if not the default value or something. For example, create table. So again, these are the two keywords. Table. So this is one tradition that I would like all of you to follow, and this is a good tradition, and we'll just try to follow this tradition, because in advanced data types you are going to have some more things. There you will have functions. There you will have indexes, indices. There you will have procedures, stored procedures. So where we want to just name our things in a way that we familiarize ourselves with the naming convention, and so that what happens is that whenever you have just you see the name of something, and you come to know that yes, we are talking about a table. So usually people say that we can do one thing. We can use a camel case over here. You see, this is a camel casing over here. And what you can do is you can represent a TBL in the start. What happens is that if you are doing it for an assignment purpose, for a submission purpose, what I know is that whenever I see a TBL, so I'll just quickly know without looking at these statement, without looking anywhere else, that right now this customer is a table customer. So yes, you might say that this is an Hungarian or something, but again, it's a tradition that you can use. But again, having said that, it's basically not required at all. You just write a customer and no one will say anything to you. So table names, they are not supposed to have this table. But if you have this table, again, we will have a good sense of what. So same as you are right, that's as Hungarian, we do that we usually give that typical convention of naming so that everyone knows. So you can just, but again, I'm just not making it hard and fast. Be aware, everyone. So you can call your tables like this. But again, that will always help if you have this table in front of, and then a camel case. Camel case means again the capitalized letter after the TBL, customer. So create table customer. And now you see, we will just try to learn a bit of syntax, but again, no need to worry about the syntax too much, because generally we get help in our environment and case like that. But again, this is starting braces, this parenthesis, id int. So id is again my defined word, and int is a reserved word, int or integer. One thing about databases that I'll like to tell you over here is that there are lots of short forms that we use. There is someone in waiting room, looks like, because it's showing me that someone is waiting in waiting room, but I cannot see anyone in waiting room. Please let me know if someone pings you that I'm in waiting room, because it's showing me that someone is in waiting room. Anyhow, all right. So basically, what I was saying, that in databases we use a lots of short forms for things. So again, we can use this int, int. This is for integer, and integer can be used with int, eger as well. So the both mean same. But again, id int, we are defined first field, first column, so to speak, because we are talking about the table. And name varchar. So yes, it's varchar is basically variable character length. So Luca, it's basically variable character length. So variable character, so it can vary till 40. So we can have, if we are defining this name, we are basically saying that it will be a variable character length. And yes, so we have a string as well, but in databases we usually prefer this varchar over here, varchar in the SQL language, right? Varchar, or we can use a char, or we have another that is nvarchar. We'll see that when it comes. So, but usually we prefer this varchar, variable character length of any length that you want. And here, another is a reserved word is a default, Mr. Unknown. So there is something. Okay, so Duzan, why do we prefer this? So Duzan, we have like this char or varchar. Typically speaking, if you talk about that in SQL world, it's generally considered as, you know, as I said you, that there are a few things as they are just considered as a standard or something. So we basically talk about that varchar. So we usually take it as one of the you can call it one of the basically used a tradition that we follow in that. And in the answer of Luca, when the character exceeds the limit, what will happen? Would anyone like to answer this? If the limit happen, what should happen? What would be done? Maybe Dusan, I'll discuss it with you more, but let's talk about Luca's question also. So Luca, it would be cut off, blank spaces left, cut off. All right, anyone else? Maybe it only takes first 40, as people are saying, truncates it. All right, okay. So I'm leaving this question for the time being right now, and we'll discuss that again when we'll just start truncation or out of bounds issues maybe. So Luca, I'm just leaving this question for maybe our today when we'll install it, and we'll just try to run that, and we'll see that what happens when something of that kind happens, because that required some of the description, but I'm not giving it intentionally over here. But for the time being, we are just taking it as like, of course, this will be something unusual that you talk about, but what behavior our environment will show, that typically we'll discuss when we'll be discussing this environment, and also the SQL Management Studio, that is another environment that we might use. So default value over here, and we have that city varchar 40 default unknown over here. So basically we can create a table by using this format. All right, so can also specify that a column needs to have a value, and we can specify a value, or we can null is equivalent to empty. We can, if we allow null value to a column, then we will be just allowing it, or typically it is allowed. So, but when you want to just make that it should not be null, so see here, classification is one column that we have taken as a varchar of 2 values, and we have defined it as not null. So it means by default, you might be able to, store a null value. Store null value means you're not storing anything. But if you do that not null, so it means that this basically this field should never be left null. There has to be a typical value inside this classification. Otherwise, table won't allow that. So that is potential. Again, as I left something for the related to the field length. But what I'm telling is that this might also potentially be a problem in our database, that if you are leaving out a null value, it won't allow you. So for example, you are inserting a record in table customer, and you put in, for example, ID, you put in name, and you put in city, for example, and you left out classification, it won't allow to insert your record, right? And again, if you have just defined it what a not null value, so this will typically do that. Okay, can specify primary key. You all are familiar with the primary key. Primary key by putting keywords followed by the key in the bracket. So whatever key you want to put as a primary key, you will just place this primary key in caps and you will put that key inside that. You remember primary key? It's basically something that will make, or that will, you know, that will basically make you one way or other. You can say that will enable your ID to be a uniqueness, unique. Yes, as Lucky says, uniqueness for the table. This will allow the uniqueness. So how we can define? We can define primary key and ID. So we whatever field, whatever column you pass in over here, it will become a primary key. Okay, finding about tables. This is very interesting, and we'll do that. Can see table definitions using describe. So describe is a keyword. If I write describe info, so it will just give the description of that table. Description means how many fields are there, how many are not null, how many are allowed null, what are the data types that a typical table allows, and things like that. So all these things happen, and all these things we can check by using this describe keyword or a show keyword, right? So can information about database using the show table show. So we can use this show, or maybe we can use that describe. Right. So table constraints, relationships, and this is very interesting. You know, this is what table constraints or relationships are what done using foreign key clauses. Okay. So you remember referential integrity or the relationships integrity related to relationship. Now what is that? You can do what? Foreign key. You can define a foreign key as well. So we are creating a table TBL preferred customer. So it's a preferred customer table. ID int discount double default double value, and default is 0.05. Description is varchar. It would be a varchar. Primary key is the ID, and primary key is the ID over here, and foreign key is the ID references table customer ID. Now I hope you remember your assignments when you created that. You used to just mark that comes from that table. So it is saying that references are table customer ID. So in customer, there will be an ID. So this ID, this foreign key, which is ID over here, is reference of a table customer ID over there. So in a customer table, like TBL customer, there is a field called ID. There is a column called ID. And we are putting that ID over here. And that becomes a foreign key over here. Because with the help of this, what we'll do is we can basically just basically go and extract the value of the customer from the customer table. So that same thing, if you remember the normalization that we talked about, that if I do not have this foreign key over here, I'll have to put all the customer record over here. Now, whatever customer had, I'll have to just put over here. You remember? So that is why what we did was we were using that 3NF and 2NF and those like NFs that we were doing over there. And why we were doing over there, that we basically said that you want to have a foreign key over here. This foreign key will be doing what? This will be going to TBL customer and just trying to find that record out of there. So whenever we need something from table customer, we'll go to that foreign key. Whenever we need something from this table preferred customer, so preferred customer record will be here, but the table customer will be used for finding out the value of that particular customer. So this is the foreign key over here. Foreign key will be referencing something, and that reference is basically what over there. Okay, there is something called check over here. I'm just leaving that out for the time being, but we'll discuss that between and check. These are the two reserved words over here. So we'll see that what does that mean in a typical installation, and then we'll use that. It gives a limited validation. There are table constraints, and these are table constraints placed after the definition of the columns. Primary key we have seen for making one unique table in one, and then unique value. Unique clauses requires a unique value for a column or in all rows. So basically, unique will tell us that whether you want to have a unique value for a particular column or column in all rows. So if you want to put that unique, that will make that unique, the table. Now, foreign key clause in combination with references will do what? Will reference to some other table, as foreign key as office ID is coming from the table office, and table office has this office ID where people will be. Check clause provides limited validation. It provides us a very limited validation. That's why I've just left it out, and we'll just see that when we'll be implementing that. So I've just intentionally left it out. So column constraints are placed immediately after a column definition. You define a column and then you just place that definition: unique, primary key, references, something, etc., and check position is equal to 1. So we try to put that constraint. So this is one important thing that you have to keep in mind, that these all are called constraints. And this is very important for, as I said, wow, now my drawing is going crazy. So constraints. So constraints are always specifically used for finding out for implementation of certain rules and regulations on the table. You remember constraints we have talked about when we were talking about 3NF, 2NF, and those table normalizations. We are talking about the constraints over there. So these are the constraints that we use. Okay, if you have created a table and you want to change the definition of the table, you can add columns by using alter table. We can create what? We can do alter table. And please bear in mind, once you create a table and you want to do something else in it, you will have to alter it. You cannot do create again. And why you cannot do create again? Of course, you know that create, once it has been created, that will become a table, and table will be one table only over there with one name. You remember, if you talk, does anyone remember where did we study this rule that the table should be a unique name? And where was the place that we studied about this, that table should be a unique? Anyone in the chat window? That table name should be a unique one. And if I try to create relations, Lucky, I want a bit more. Yes, relations. You're right. So you remember we talked about relations, that if something is to be a relation, it has to have a unique name, right? So that unique naming was basically there. So again, alter table will be used once you have created a table and then you want to do some changes. So see here, how we can change it, do the changes. Alter table, TBL order header. So we have an order header table. Add, right? We are adding something. Salesperson ID, integer, references table person. Now, what we are doing over here, we are altering a table. Its name is table order header. And we want to alter this table, and we want to add what? We want to add a salesperson ID, integer, references table person. So what we'll do is that we'll just add a salesperson ID, which will reference to table person. It will be referencing to what? The table person. So we have not only altered a table, also we have added a foreign key type, like foreign key here, salesperson ID, which is referencing to table person. From table person it will come from. All right, so set default, or what we can do is alter table person, alter name, set default unknown. So we can set a default value for the name. And what we do is here you see that the reserved words here, like keywords, alter table. We cannot do create table over here for the same reason, because we already have this table person already on there. Then we have alter, change it, do what? Set, alter what? Alter name. The column what we want to alter is the column name, right? So set what? Default, and we want to set a value of default, and we say that unknown. So you set a default value for table person's name as unknown. If someone does not enter anything, the unknown goes inside it. So this unknown might be the replacement of that, not null or anything. Entire tables can be dropped by using drop table, TBL table name. So again, drop table, and you just write the table name, and it will do what? Dropped. Dropped means here. So you have to remember that our new normal for delete is the drop. New normal word for delete is the drop, and we can drop a table. All relations involved in the table must be deleted first. You remember we talked about that when we were talking about those rules and regulations for deleting. So you remember that if there are some relationship of this table, relationship with the other table, so we need to delete them as well. Delete them first, and then we can just delete that table, because that would be hindering, or that would be stopping deletion of the table we discussed over there, if you remember. All right. So maybe after 2 slides, we are about to start installations. Every table starts out empty. So every table starts with what? An empty, nothing in there when we create a table. The insert into, another command, another query. The insert into command is used to insert data in tables as new record. So basically what we do is that we'll insert into, and we'll use this command to insert data into our table, right? So as new record. So new records will be inserted by using insert. If columns are not specified, the values are inserted in order. So what we can do is that we can add either specify the value, the column names as well over here, or we can just leave them out or just put the values over here. Now see what will happen. For example, insert into table customer. First of all, insert into. Remember, this is not only insert, it is insert into table customer, the table name, values. And again, this is the point where we are talking about that we are not giving the columns name, rather we are directly providing it the values. So values, one, Fred, Flintstone, and whatever values we have just provided, all these values. So these values will go in sequence to, for example, this was ID, this was first name, this was second name, this was maybe address, this was city, or this was, you know, state, this was the postal code, and this was the phone number. So this will go in their relative order to their to that particular table. And if you just miss out, if you just do something, that will create some problem. You can record can just your new record can just add just certain fields filled in. So you can have just certain fields filled in. For example, insert as value pairs. Jane, I'm not getting your question. What do you mean? Insert at value pairs? Insert as value pairs, key and value. All right, all right. So, you know, yes, the thing you are talking about, Jane, is basically that if you say that it's not a mapping of values, it's again, it's a sequentially giving the columns, for example, for data, if you see here. But if you talk about then this next slide, your new record can have just certain fields filled in with if you want. And if you want to just insert in typical fields, what you do is the fields can be in any order, but the values are put in using the order of the fields. So now insert into table customer, but we are doing customer ID, first name, last name, and city. So we are just placing these four records, and values are 2, and these 2 names, and then the city name. So basically what we are doing is that we are typically providing a table customer, and that the fields are over here. So key values, the keys are coming over here. And then as we talked about, the values are over here. So keys come inside in a bracket, just the columns where you want to insert your records in. Okay, queries. We have been talking about these queries. Done using select statement. We'll be doing a lot queries over the next few weeks. So not few weeks, right? What I'm just doing is I'll just ask all of you to just do that right now, and we will be installing now. And what software we'll be using or what we want to install is, I want all of you, like, does anyone has, like, you know, MySQL installed in their system? Anyone? Because sometimes in a database course or some courses you